Welcome to movie night. Thank you for coming out in the hot weather. There is popcorn over there. We will try to keep it it's not going to run as long as The Odyssey over in the IMAX theaters. If you remember your old home movies when they were like this, 3 minutes at a time, my family, if they were like yours, they compressed pretty much an entire year into 3 minutes. 30 seconds of each of our birthdays, a minute of a trip to Colorado, and 45 seconds of visiting Christmas time. So those are 8mm movies. Of course, now, we used to all have big camcorders too for a while, and that added sound and things. And I realized just tonight as I was pulling up, the one thing I did not include tonight was that sound of the old projector going, as it ran through silently. So we do have a lot of movies to watch though tonight. And I welcome your help tonight, because there are a lot of you out here who were once, who will know some of the faces in these movies. Some of you who were maybe here, maybe you're in it. If so, call out. I have got this fancy gear here tonight that will let me freeze the videos at any point, okay? And so we can go roll back and go further in slow motion. I will try to talk less, partially because I'm losing my voice, but I do want to set the scene first. What is it? When is something considered to be history? One way of thinking of it is that history is what happened before you got here. Now, that could be your birth, or that could be moving to Grapevine, something like that. Okay. Am I still in the picture there? Can you tell me? Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. I'll also move backwards. That helps. There we go. Anyway, few things bring history to life like old movies. Even more so when it's old home movies or videos, ordinary people doing ordinary things in a time and a place that really no longer exists. When a town like Grapevine has changed, sometimes the movies help us snap scenes into focus and understand what life was like back then. I'm going to start with Grapevine. Whoops. There we go. And I knew I was going to do this. Okay. I'm going to start with Grapevine back about 75 years ago. Okay. This is an aerial photograph of Grapevine in 1956. The town is here. The lake is filling up here. And around it is mostly just green fields. Not much more. Let's contrast that with the Grapevine of today. Okay. Can you even find us? That's the same oh, please leave, if we can leave the light on, I need to read. Okay. Is it blind? Is it not working for everybody? Okay. Obviously the airport dwarfs everything. Let me see if we can zoom in on this and go back downtown Grapevine. Right? It'll be coming up right here in a minute. A lot has changed since 1956. So many more buildings, not the isolated town that it once was, the small town. If you didn't know where to look in that picture, you wouldn't know where Main Street was. Here we're just about getting there. Okay, you recognize it now. Okay, everybody know where they're looking at now, north up Main Street. CVB building over here, there's the train station. The water tower, the palace is off in the back, and the lake in the far distance. Okay? That is the town of today. Even 40 years ago, things were a lot different. So we're going to start with a video made in 1987 and work our way back in time. Because if you were here 4 decades ago, the town has changed a lot since then. Main Street days, for instance. 40 years ago, in 1987, was Main Street Day's third ever appearance, and the first one on Main Street. This is the north end of town looking south. That's the Opry House. North didn't go as far north as it does today, and the celebration was a lot smaller. Bartley's Barbecue is right there in the background in its original location. And the snow cone place is right there too. Is that too loud? Is that good? The crowds are thinner. The entertainment a little less extravagant. Grace was here. They had an early booth. The Rexall Drug looking south on the east side. Not nearly the crowd that we used to have. Oh. I believe that's Ted Ware. The gazebo had just been put in the year before. That's the musical entertainment. Ray Wiley Hubbard also played. The third annual Main Street Days, 1987. Let's look at another part. Let's actually take a little bit of a tour of part of the town. This is video from Howard Robinson, who had just arrived in town with his family the year before. The Robinsons were from England, so they had a particular and peculiar awareness of what makes the hot Texas summers unique. We're going to join them on a drive around the outskirts of town, mostly from west to east along Northwest Highway. Let me show you where we are today. This is a little fuzzy, but hey, Google Earth is pretty cool that it can do this at all. That's what is that? It's not Dino's, it's Perry's Steakhouse. Golf Galaxy is over here. This is 121. This is Northwest Highway that's veering off that way. That's just to establish where we are right now. And what we're going to see as they drive in a moment is they're going to drive down Northwest Highway. They're going to cross Main Street. Here's Main Street. They're going to head over towards the Great Wolf, which is many years in the future, past Texan Trail. And then they're going to go across the dam to the other side of the dam. And we're going to do the same here. And we're going to end up in this spot right there. But first, let's start in the parking lot.
This is the car park of Skaggs Alpha Beta. Fiona's just holding up some videos we bought there.
Another thing that's going on.
Ali. And this is our car with one of these sun shields on. You know, the steering wheel gets so hot in the sun, you have to have one of these.
You still do.
Over here on the right, we've got the Grapevine Steakhouse, which is an old landmark here. They serve very good steaks and country music. This is the main drag through Grapevine.
Now we're going east on Northwest Highway.
What's it called, Alex? Northeast?
Northwest Highway.
Northwest Highway. This runs right through.
The Sonic was there.
It's not the main street, which is.
There's Main Street, the old
right, just
gas station, the old Ciro's Heroes. On the east side of Northwest Highway, east of town, it's really empty, and we've forgotten how much it's been built up just in the last few years. This is Dooley Street he's crossing now, and after that, he'll tell you.
Okay, we're reaching the outskirts of Grapevine here.
But he's right. Look at the left side. Nothing.
Yeah.
And you're going to come up to where Texan Trail would turn and where the Great Wolf would be and the light in the intersection there. Nuh-uh. There's just a V in the road. Take the left, you go to 26, and take the right, you go down towards the airport. Empty spaces. Will save you the long trek over the lake, but what happened when you got to the north end of the dam, what awaited you, I'll show you that.
This is the little store across the dam where we can come and buy wines and spirits. In Grapevine, we can only buy beer.
Griffith's Corner.
Mm-hmm. This is the city just across the dam from where we live.
Little
Called
old flower mound, 11,000 people only.
And you can see Grapevine finishes here and Flower Mound begins.
And that's why that's here.
And you can buy bass, crappie, worms and shrimp, whichever one you like.
Note the price of gas. 85 cents. Across the street was Gene's One Stop, which was there from the, certainly 1960s.
Here goes a bass boat. Very common form of fishing boat seen here. And there's the police car.
I don't know why he sounded like he expected it. Obviously, the lake was a huge change that defined Grapevine for many years, a new kind of grapevine. When the dam was completed, it was 1952. This is WBAP Channel 5 news footage of the ceremonies when they closed the dam and the lock for the first time. The dignitaries were there. Gordon Tate is on the right there, Mayor Tate's father. The gentleman on the right there, the Army-looking gentleman, was from the Army Corps of Engineers. That's a Colonel Halleck. The dignitary in the middle, that is John W. Carpenter, the mayor of Dallas. Dallas, of course, got most of the water. So it was Mr. Carpenter who got to pull the master switch to start the machinery going to dam up the creek to start the lake filling. That was July 3rd, 1952. And we were in a drought then too. So the lake was empty at the start, and a year later in April 53, it still wasn't full, anywhere close to being full, you can see. But in the 60s, it filled up. And now we're into some home movies from the Taylor family. They made these films in the early 60s. I think the costumes have changed a little bit. Some of the boats and the cars have changed a bit. But we're out now by the world's largest fishing barge, or so it was advertised for a brief moment. And I didn't realize at the time until I saw this film that they had paddle boats in the early 60s, which I think would have been awfully fun to do, except when it was 109 outside. But you could go around and... Now that's probably all where the Gaylord Texan is, basically, right now. So, okay, the lake was one constant of Grapevine life in the 75 years that we're looking at. Football is certainly another. Sean Shope, thank you for your video tonight that you're sharing with us. A video of a football game from November 1985 when the Mustangs were nearly the division champions. I love the primitive graphics, and This was broadcast on the cable TV. Everything is simpler. The stadium is simpler. The play-by-play is simpler, you'll hear. (1985). Who was in school then?
Okay, Michael Looper will be kicking off for Grapevine. Deep for Diamond Hill is number 2, which is Alonzo Patterson. Alonzo is one of the better players for Diamond Hill. I think we probably all read in the paper this week, Diamond Hill hadn't won a game in 4 years, but it's 0-0 right now. Grapevine needs this win to finish second in district, finish with a 4-2 district record, and go into the playoffs next week against Mineral Wells. Good kick by Looper, taken on about the 3-yard line. Number 12, Diamond Hill's up the middle. Gets by Dan Yerrison's tackled by 3 Grapevine players. Okay, Kevin Baines is holding for Mike Looper. Kicks up. Kicks good.
Okay, that's 7 points on the board for Grapevine already.
They went on to win.
Man seems louder than usual, or either we're closer to him tonight.
So we'll jump back now. We'll jump back 30 years now. Still football related, the homecoming. Now some of you have seen this footage because it's been on Facebook for some time, but this is some amazing footage that was shot by William Wilkerson, the town dentist. He was an excellent photographer. Again, building-wise, there's the right up at the snow cones here, the palace here. They're all turning east onto Worth Street. The school board. The mayor and the PTA president. There's the backup onto Worth Street. Oh no, there's the school board, sorry. Yeah. I love this. These are not show ponies, these are working horses. The movies at the palace were The Black Pirates and The Dakota Incident. And there's not much more behind the camera on Main Street, but boy aren't these lovely floats and lovely people on them. Behind her is the old water building, the water plant. That's basically where the Torian cabin is now.
Can you stop that? Do you ladies know who these girls are? Yes.
Yes, they said. They're not going to admit it, but they know it. Okay. Some of the floats are just extraordinary, isn't it? I don't know if she's the homecoming queen, but she certainly ought to be up there.
Was that Judy?
Yeah, I'll freeze it for just a second there. Okay. Pat and Diane. Yeah.
Hey, these ladies know all those people there.
I know.
You gotta get them to write it down.
You have to write me and let me know. And that's the junior class. There, coming up. There we go. Quite a crowd on Main Street in 1956 in November.
The seniors has the same sign.
Huh? It's beautiful. He was shooting 16 millimeter film. which was very professional of him to be doing it in that era and that color. He's also shot other great still photographs. Mr. Wilkerson was quite the photographer. So we're now going to go down to the south end of Main Street. And the next set of films comes from, was shot mostly about where the Historical Museum is today, okay? I'm going to show you where we are, and we're going to, in fact, let me get in a little closer here, okay? Again, the view today looks like this: the CVB building, Weinberger's Deli, the Grapevine Ice restored, building that's the Historical Museum, and of course, very importantly, here is the mill building, okay? And we're looking up north. If you want to, I always orient from the Palace Theater. It's way up here, okay? And I'm going to let this move a little more because I want to angle off towards the west, because we're going to see a shot in a minute that you won't believe because it was filmed from almost where this is. Again, Grapevine's completely built out. There's Church Street. Houses, neighborhoods, okay? That's today. In 1963-ish.
By the way, that is my dad, 59 Chevy, and the address is 120 East Nash Street. My dad worked for B&D Mills for 24 years.
Okay, this is Bud Taylor, and they lived on Nash Street and they lived on Hudgens, right about where the museum is today. It was a smaller town. It was not much going on. You could shoot off rockets in the middle of the road. There were empty fields.
That is my sister. That is me playing football.
Now, look behind him and just on the next shot, right there. You see the building in the background. There we go. Master-made feed. Okay.
This is where the museum is now. That was 627.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is me and my dad.
As you said, Bud,
And my sisters.
everybody has had family movies like these, and they're all charming, aren't they? Small kitchens, red linoleum, little tiny places, and then occasionally, you'd have an event in the town. Nature might intrude on things, and like it would be snowing. There's the mill back in the background there. This may be 1963, which is when one of the really big snows Grapevine had. There's actually two sets of snows here, but I just think it's... Aren't you a stinker? You were quite the dancer, though, because you do that a lot. Yeah.
That's 51 Ford. That's 120 Nash right there.
That's Nash Street, yeah. Is that still there? Okay. Since it's snowing, I thought we'd show a little bit of a Christmas with one of the scarier Santa Clauses I've ever seen.
He's one of my older cousins that full of that.
He's wearing jeans. Santa Claus is hunched back and wearing jeans. It's really terrifying.
Has this film been remastered? Because it's pretty good shape.
It's in pretty good shape. For an 8mm film, it's pretty good shape. This is all from a machine that you can check out at the library if you have these films, if you have films yourself. It's pretty amazing. Now, working at Mastermade, there's a perk here. He got to go up to the top of the building and film. And we're going to show this, and I'm going to show it to you again because it's so cool, I think. Okay? It goes by very quickly.
If that's our 59 Chevy pulling in, I don't know if anybody remembers, this is Harston's with H.
Harston's Grocery, right about where the CVB building is right now. That's Dallas Road, and it cuts into. Hang on a second. This is so interesting that I'm gonna do it. There's Mastermead again, and here's a look at Grapevine of 1961, 62, somewhere in there. I had an AI look at it, and it tried to judge from the cars, and said it was about 1962. So I'm slowed it down by half, and I might speed it up in little bits. That building's still there. That's part of the part of the mill complex. That is one of the ones that burned. Now he's up top looking down at the grain silos. Okay. And here again is, this is basically the corner of Hudgens and Main Street right there. This is all the CVB building right now. This is roughly the parking lot of the Historical Museum. Back there, I believe that's going to be Burris Groceries. Okay. Buddies. Okay, thank you. Okay. I knew you guys would get me on some of this.
That's College Street.
Yeah, College Street off in the distance. And he shot several from this angle. He also then turned the camera around to the other side. And real quickly, I'll have to pause it, I think. It had rained, clearly. But I love the cars. I wish they could park those in front of our museum now. I think it's just cool that he went up there and did that.
And you had to ride a van lift. I've been on it before. There's a conveyor belt that took you from the ground to the top floor up there. You had to step off of it, move real slowly, but it's just a conveyor. You just had a little pad.
This is looking.
Hold on to it and then step off on the floor.
This is looking the other way, I believe, towards Dallas Road, looking south. And right down at the bottom, by the way, it says, some of you will note, it says Pear Automotive, Jerry Pear's place, before anything else was built. So we have two more shots. We have this guy leaving Hudgens and turning north on Main Street. And then he turns his camera on Main Street proper. There's one more time, the Mastermead feed out in front. There's Main Street. That white blob is the Palace Theater. Okay. The dirt road that's coming up there is Church Street, unpaved. And after that, there's just not many more. The houses become very sparse, particularly if you look up north. There's nothing after Northwest Highway and the lake. Small community because we were talking about 3,000 or 4,000 people at this point. Well, save one more set of films for last. Hopefully I think the best and certainly the oldest for last. And the seed of this talk was planted about a year ago when a reel of movie film was purchased by Chris Layton, who you all saw over there, from the estate sale of Bill Powers. And Bill was our fire chief for many years. And the role of 8mm black and white movie film was in fact not home movies, but an actual, deliberate, intentional tour of downtown Grapevine. The film was pretty rough shape. The transfer isn't the best, flickery and kind of fuzzy, a little bit difficult to watch. I have done what I can to improve it, adding some AI tools and some stabilization. It'll make it look a little better. Well, here, let me show you what it roughly looked like initially. That's looking north on Main Street, and you can make it out, but it could be better. So I'm just going to start with that for a second to show you what we had to work with. And we believe that's Mayor Tate and Gordon Tate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We'll see that. Okay, Irving Hodges, okay. So we've got this reworked. We don't even know when this was shot. Originally, it was thought maybe it was the late 1940s, and maybe you can help me pin it down. We can see a calendar in one shot, and all we can make out is that it was Wednesday the 15th, but we can't tell what month. But I went through looking at all the businesses that he visited, and a couple of them opened about 1952. So I think this might have been about 1952. School was in session, so that also helps pin it down. And the only Wednesday the 15th in 1952 where school would have been in session was May 15th, 1952. So that's my guess as to when this was, 3/4 of a century ago, just about. What is amazing to me again is that Mr. Powers planned this footage. He went around Main Street and filmed individual businesses in turn, each one showing the outside and the operations inside. Today he'd be making little TikTok reels. But this was his film from back then. So here we go. Looking up Main Street, we're going to see a couple of people walking past again, and hopefully you can see it's a little more stable, a little easier to read what's going on. That's the one, might be. The one light in town. And a lot of cars. Amazing amount of cars for 52. There's the post office. That is where Ooh La La is now, believe it or not. And he's just going to pan over to where Bermuda Gold is, and then Dino's and the bank, the former bank, and off in the distance again, the Palace Theater. If I could work out what that title was, we could pin this down closer.
Pause that for just a second.
Yeah.
In doing real estate in this town, I think the first deal I ever did was in 1996. And my first client was Bill Guest. I don't know if you
Oh, yes. The guests.
Bill Guest owned where Jake Samberger's is now.
Mm-hmm.
He also owned where Tolbert's is now. And I worked with him to sell those buildings. And
They also ran the theater for a while.
that's where I was going.
Mhm.
He told me, I interviewed him one time because I love history. And I interviewed him, and he said he was the owner of
The Palace
theater.
and the
It
Mustang
was 1938 or
and the Mustang Drive-In as well.
yeah.
Yes, you're right. Otis Variety, which opened in 1948, it took over from Wildman Variety and later was bought by Buffs. So if you want some continuity there, I would love to know who that nice gentleman is, but I don't. Now we're going to tour the various businesses. White Cleaners, opened in 1944. And you'll see there's a sort of deliberate approach to each one of these. We look at the front of the building, we go inside, we watch them work in 1952, whatever it is the business is that it does, and eventually we kind of make a sale and then come back out and see the whole staff again. And each one of these runs about a minute. I'm guessing that could be a Mr. White, I don't know. You'll notice they're all very small business. This is interesting. An actual African American in Grapevine in 1952. It's the only one you'll see. There weren't that many, and she was working there. So there's the staff. And the next stop, the Grapevine Lumber Company. Over towards the east side off Main and the south. Of course, they sold a lot more than lumber. This gentleman coming up in the Buddy Holly glasses will be happy to sell you some paint. Or screen doors. give the customer what they want, and that's a lot of wood back behind them.
You said that was on Main Street?
No, it was off Main Street.
Was it down? Was it down toward the tracks?
Yes, yes. This is Smith's Humble Service Station. We're now on Northwest Highway. Humble, of course, became Exxon. Back in the days when, oh yes, full service was assumed. We're pretty much right next to Ciro's Heroes Dude's Drive-In, but Dude's Drive-In hadn't been built yet. That was another year or two away. So this is just on the northeast corner, or southeast corner, I would say, of Northwest Highway and Main Street. That's Main in the distance.
Where Los Amigos is now?
Pretty much there. Yeah, where the Jet Fast Instruction is probably. Yeah, that's about right. They were a full service place with, now I'm going to have to go back and look at Jet Fast Inspection, make sure could be the building still. It might be. It's a good thought. It was bought by Smith in 1952. Now, Tom Maggard Motors, the Ford dealership on the east side of town. Again, he tells a whole story here. We have a gentleman coming out and going in to look at a new car. And if you'll notice the coat of the customer, I'm wondering if he is either the doctor or the dentist in town. At that time, new Fords sedans like this one cost between $1,400 and $1,800. So yours for less than $2,000. And I guess it was a success because this stylish young lady is bringing in some paperwork for them to sign and fill out and make a purchase. You know, he didn't edit these. He did all the editing in camera. So he stopped the camera, moved it to another spot, took this picture of one of the guys. Stopped it again, took another picture. And so you see people look up regularly and smile like, are we done with this shot? Thank you. Here's the staff. Here's the entire staff of the Ford dealership in Grapevine, all 7 of them.
Was Willowick's open at this time?
As a garage, yes. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And Bill Powers took this one?
Yes. The next stop, the First National Bank. Now, of course, Dino's, built in 41 as a very modernistic building. It had a drive-up window. We're going to watch all these farmers, deposit their checks or ask for some cash. There were no ATMs, of course. It was a very stylish lobby in the 40s, and still in 1952, it was still a very nice lobby. And you'll see here in a minute both that calendar I was mentioning, it gives us a clue as to the date, but also Joe Box. They also had a fairly small banking staff. You see, I should have given you the mic so I could hear all these names that you're calling out. We could identify this, but this will be on YouTube. Next, we're going into the Lipscomb store, which is roughly where Farina's is now. Clothing and shoes, and boy, is it packed in there tightly. Now, if you remember your old movies, inside, when you had to shoot a movie inside, you had these giant lights this bar of lights that would just blind everybody, which is why it looks like it does. He's got sun lamps. Lots of shoes to pick from, but very tight quarters. I mean, yeah, that's right. They didn't have your size, you bought extra socks. That's right. And a very basic set of outfits for the guys. Across the street was Faust, and I don't mean the funeral company, I mean the appliance company. In this case, they sold modern refrigerators, freezers, ice makers, stoves. Remember the freezers when you had to defrost them yourselves in the ice trays? You had to pull the thing on it. Yeah. No front of door buttons that dropped ice into your cup. Again, the town is only 2,000 people at this time. So it's pretty impressive we've got all these local businesses that can cater to everything. Yeah. He does not look comfortable with the camera. Yeah. And now we're going to return back. We're going to see B&D Mills one more time. Not from up in the air, but inside where they are doing the work. And I'm not very good at interpreting some of this. There is definitely a hopper with grain and milled products there. And they're weighing it, and it's about to go down next to where eventually they will put it in sacks and sew up the sacks, and they've all got the Master-Made feed label on the front of the sacks, and they'll all be sold out in front at the Master-Made store. This was tough, hot work. And the gentlemen who worked in there are not, well, they're blue collar. I mean, some of them clearly have been in the wars and
What was the grain? What are the grains?
it was different feeds. I mean, it was mostly feed.
Turkey.
Yeah.
They came up with a new type of turkey feed that Mrs. Deacon made in her kitchen to begin with. That was one of the main things they sold.
And the front staff, this is in the Master-Made building itself. One more visit to one more business here. This is on the west side of town where we think of the post office that it used to be, but this is Stewart's Barber Shop. Another reason I think this is the 50s instead of the 40s is because this kid has a fairly radical early 50s haircut.
That's Mr. Stewart's background. He used to cut my hair back in the early 60s.
Stewart's was around for a long time. It opened in 51, by the way.
And as he got older, his hand, it gripped the top of your head while he's cutting it, his hand would shake. It scared you to death.
I should think so.
That shop was at the alley next.
Each chair had a spittoon.
Each chair had a spittoon, huh?
Now, where was this store?
I have it at 426 South Main.
Next to the alley.
Yes, that would be right. Yeah, where the post office building was in the 20s. Okay. Bill Powers being, of course, with the volunteer fire department. It was a volunteer fire department at that time. Spent a little extra time filming that. So he, again, did a whole storyline to tout the volunteer fire department. Everybody has gotten the call that something is on fire. So they're all racing up, all 6 of them, to the fire trucks, all 3 of them. And you'll note the one in the middle particularly. I think that's still with us today. That's the 1928 Model A fire truck that we still have. They're racing up the alley behind East Main. They're turning onto College Street. They're racing down College Street to go. And I don't know how they got the alarm, actually. That's a good question. Well, they came from different places, so somebody must have been a phone call.
I want to say that this was just a drill.
This is definitely just a drill because obviously he had to edit this in camera, stop the camera, move down to another location, pull the truck, get the trucks to come back, and here they are. They ended up at the school, where they demonstrate their prowess with the hoses, which must have been fun for the kids. Successful run, back now at their firehouse, pulling into the garage.
On off hours with that volunteer fire department, we at a Lucas Funeral Home had a phone that led directly to fire. And so calls were coming to us, and then we had a way of punching a button and the siren go off on the water tower.
Ah, okay, to the water tower. That is a good story. It's an interesting sign back there too. It was shot later than the rest. I can't make out anything except the word tax, and I think that says poll tax. And so, and that's quite possible in 1952. It's, the background details are sometimes telling stories as well. They had good camaraderie. So, what time is it now? I can't check my phone. Okay, good. We're right on time. We're trying to wrap up here. There is other film that of this area, some of which I couldn't show tonight, some of which is lost. There is, for instance, some footage from 1934 of Dove Road, of the location where Bonnie and Clyde killed the state troopers. It was recreated for the movie cameras there. There's some footage of the dentist in the 1950s and other Channel 5 footage from the 1950s. There's other homecoming parades. Some is lost. There were newsreel cameramen at the very first Cantaloupe Festival, but I have checked with all the companies that owned the footage since then, and they could not find that for me. Theoretically, there's some fire department footage from the 1920s when they went to a competition. Maybe you have something. Maybe you guys have reels of film or VHS tapes. Come talk to me. Maybe we could have maybe a good movie deserves a sequel. We've seen a lot of buildings that are recognizable tonight, but so much else has changed in 40 years and 75 years. The businesses, the daily life, the people in this town. It's been said that the past is another country, and I hope this brings some of it to life, maybe even some memories. Clearly it did for some of you. I want to end with a bit more of Bill Powers' footage from 1952. He finished his filming that spring at the school. He filmed a lot there, aiming his cameras at the kids and the teachers. The kids were acting like kids. The teachers were trying to be adult. The footage is fuzzier and rough, but I think it's lovely. It's a vanished moment, but I also think it's timeless. And who knows, but I think you'll see some people you know. Thank,
Walk through memory lane.
thank you all for watching. Perhaps we can show you the director's cut next time.